Hey, what's up, nerds? Welcome to a new video series that I'm doing called Completed Runs. This is where we will do a deep dive on a particular mini-series, completed run, or particular issues in my collection. I'll go through, read it, discuss some of the artwork, give a brief synopsis of what the story is about, and tell you how I rated it. For this week's episode, we are going to look at Marvel Superheroes Contest of Champions. This is a story that came out in 1982 and has the distinction of being the first major event crossover series in the Marvel Universe. The series is written by Mark Gruenwald, Bill Mantlo, and Stephen Grant. All the artwork is done by John Romita Jr. and Bob Layton. Now, like I said, this came out in 1982. It is a 3-issue miniseries. As far as the particular issues, only issue 1 is a key. And that is because it is the first appearance of many heroes: Blitzkrieg, Collective Man, Shamrock, Defensor, Peregrine, and Talisman. If you're looking to purchase these 3 issues, you can find them at your local comic book store or online. The prices vary, but you can collect all 3 issues somewhere between $3 and $20, somewhere around there, depending on the quality of it. There are a couple collected editions, but not many. Collected editions like trades can go anywhere between $5 to $20, so it depends basically on what you're looking for. Do you want 3 single issues or a collected trade? Single issues will probably be a lot easier to find, to be honest with you. I would not be surprised if you checked your dollar bins in your local comic book store. You might find at least 2 of them in there. With that being said, let's dive into the story. First thing we're going to take a look at is the artwork on the covers. This is issue number 1. Like I said, all artwork is done by John Romita Jr. and Bob Layton, who are incredible artists. I'm a big fan of the artwork, especially the Silver Bronze Age. I really like its classic artwork style that I really like, although there's some really good Copper and Modern Age stuff out there too. This is issue number 2. Like I said, it's a more, maybe not simplistic is the way to look at the artwork, but more of a classic feel to it, especially since this was a lot of the stuff that I was reading and the artwork styles of what I was reading when I was a kid. So that probably factors in more in my decision making as to which artwork that I do like, but I do prefer more of a Bronze and Silver Age artists. So what we have here is we have the Grandmaster and a being known only as the Unknown have entered into a wager. And should the Grandmaster win, he will be able to bring his brother, the Collector, back to life. If he loses, he will be stripped of all his power and join his brother in oblivion. So the Grandmaster and the Unknown have selected Earth as their battleground, and they will use the heroes of Earth to fight as their champions in a series of 4 contests. So what ends up happening is all of Earth's heroes begin to disappear. The Avengers, the Eternals, the Inhumans, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman. One by one, all of these heroes start to disappear in the middle of whatever they were doing. As you see here, you have the X-Men and Alpha Flight all disappearing. X-Men during their training, Alpha Flight while they're trying to figure out what is next, flying in their Alpha Jet or whatever it's called. So as you can see here, all of Earth's heroes have been taken up. You got the Fantastic Four, like I said, the Avengers. You even have superheroes from other countries that you'll get to see a little bit more of here in just a little bit. And they're all transported off the Earth and into like a floating space jail, where everybody is being held until the Grandmaster and the Unknown start to select who will be their champions for their teams. So this next panel shows, while the heroes are all here in this space jail, as we call it, you start to see them mingle around a little bit. So you get some weird exchanges between like the Vision and Machine Man. Talk about how they're both androids. You see the Black Knight here and the Arabian Knight getting together. Colossus has a conversation with a Russian superhero about whether or not, why isn't Colossus fighting for his mother country and so on and so forth. So there is some interesting stuff that's happening here. So the rules start to get laid out to all of Earth's heroes. And at this point, it is revealed that since they were all taken, all of Earth is trapped in suspended animation. Now, what has to happen here is it's revealed to the heroes that they will be playing part in this game. And the heroes have to play the game. If they do not, or they throw the contest, then all of Earth will remain trapped in suspended animation. But to give him a little bit of incentive, should the Taskmaster win, he has vowed that he will never use Earth in any of his games moving forward. The Unknown has also vowed as an extra little incentive that should the Unknown's team win, that they will grant another 1,000,000 years of life on the star in the solar system. So an untold amount of generations will continue to receive life past what Earth's expiration date is. So the Earth is given another 1,000,000 years, which is kind of cool, I guess. Team selection is about to begin, but the Grandmaster and the Unknown are just whipping out a few more rules. Like, for instance, in order to make it a fair and even contest, there is no one, no aliens are allowed to participate, no Atlanteans, no Inhumans, no gods, essentially. Anyone that is not from Earth is automatically disqualified. So let me get this straight. You have kidnapped all the world's heroes, and you immediately start eliminating the most powerful from the bunch. Alright. So if we can't use Atlanteans, Inhumans, Eternals, and gods, why did we take them? So at this point of the story is where the draft and team selection begins. The Grandmaster selects Captain America, Talisman, Darkstar, the Thing from the Fantastic Four, Captain Britain, Blitzkrieg, Wolverine, Defensor, Sasquatch, Peregrine, Daredevil, and the She-Hulk. The Unknown selects Vanguard, Iron Man, Shamrock, Storm, Invisible Woman, Arabian Knight, Angel, Sabre, Black Panther, Sunfire, and Collective Man. Like I said, a whole eclectic group and mix of heroes. Wait a second, so let me get this straight. So even though we've eliminated all of these heroes and we can't use them in the contest, they make their team selection and it's still the Arabian Knight and Sabre and Shamrock and Talisman and Darkstar above all the other Avengers and X-Men and other heroes. Spider-Man sat at home. Well, he didn't sit at home. He sat in the space jail. And what's the deal with that Captain Britain? He looks weird. That's not the Captain Britain that I know. So what happens next is the Unknown unveils this golden orb. It's actually the Golden Globe of Life. And it's divided into 4 pieces and scattered on the Earth in various locations. It is the heroes that will have to go down there. Whoever claims the piece of orb, in turn, will win the contest for their respective teams. Contest 1 begins somewhere around the North Pole. As you can see, Grandmaster's team, we got Daredevil, Darkstar, and Talisman. And over on the Unknown's team, we got the Invisible Woman, Iron Fist, and Sunfire. And immediately, nobody's getting along. Sunfire's out. He's like, dude, I'm out of here. I'll find it. All is good. So Sunfire begins his battle with Darkstar. Invisible Woman starts fighting with Talisman. And we get a pretty cool fight between Iron Fist and Daredevil, that little bit of a back and forth because both are martial artists. As we see here, Sunfire and Darkstar going at it some more. Some of this obviously doesn't age well. I mean, Sunfire's a dick, but, you know, to not be bested by a woman, it's a little awkward. So after a back and forth between both teams, eventually it is Daredevil that finds the piece of the Golden Globe, secures it, and that's a victory for the Grandmaster. So the second contest begins. It's a Ghost Town showdown. On the Unknown's team, you got Iron Man, the Arabian Knight, and Sabra taking on the Grandmaster's team of Defensor, She-Hulk, and Captain Britain. And almost immediately you can see the Unknown's team just not getting along. Why can't any of these heroes actually get along, you know, and work together to make a plan, you know, to win millions of years of life for their planet? Why do they have to argue all the time? And why did the Arabian Knight call her a Jewess? That was weird. And here we are with the other team. As you can see, Defensor, She-Hulk, Captain of Britain. Kind of the same deal. Not really a whole lot of coming together, just everybody working individually, as opposed to working as a team to look for this piece of Golden Globe and to win one for their team. Really, what's the deal with that Captain Britain? It's not my Captain Britain. I like this guy. So now at this point, we're going to mix it up just a little bit. As you can see here, you got She-Hulk fighting Saber. She's also fighting the Arabian Knight. These two teams seem to mix it up with different pairings a lot in this battle moving forward, as opposed to the first contest was pretty much one-on-one. But here, as you can see, the She-Hulk ends up taking a big hit from Iron Man, and Iron Man being distracted trying to figure out how bad She-Hulk is hurt. The Arabian Knight steps in, finds the Golden Globe, and that's a win for the Unknown. Wait a second. So the Arabian Knight gets the prize because Iron Man is too concerned about the She-Hulk? Man, these new guys are doing pretty good, aren't they? So the third contest is a siege in the City of the Dead. This is somewhere in the China countryside. Again, two teams. The Unknown has Black Panther, Angel, and Vanguard, while the Grandmaster has The Thing, Wolverine, and Peregrine, which is kind of like a French version of Angel, I guess. Not super crazy about this guy. And which is typical so far that we've seen is, again, nobody can communicate. Everybody's got to fight amongst each other. Everybody's got a better idea, which is still extremely surprising for a group of heroes. Most of these people have led teams themselves or have been a part of teams. But one of the shining diamonds in this sequence is we get a one-on-one between Wolverine and the Black Panther, which is super cool because that certainly isn't something that happens very often. Wait a second. We get Wolverine versus Black Panther? Yes! Like I said, we get treated to a nice little battle between Wolverine and the Black Panther. The Flyers start going at it. Like I said, we got Angel and Peregrine beating the crap out of each other in the air, so that's fine. Eventually, Angel does get the better of it because, you know, he's a far superior character. Vanguard and Thing going at it. Vanguard is essentially like a Russian, almost like a Russian Thor in a sense. But eventually Thing makes quick work of him, and while Wolverine and Black Panther are battling out, the Thing stumbles upon his piece of the golden orb, or the golden globe. So that's another win for the Grandmaster. So now it's on to the fourth and final contest, the Struggle in the Jungle. This is actually a South American jungle. On the Grandmaster's team, you have Captain America, Sasquatch, and Blitzkrieg. While on the Unknown's team, we have Storm, Shamrock, and the Collective Man. Blitzkrieg is obviously a German superhero, and the Collective Man is from the People's Republic of China. Apparently, he's like 5 people that can merge into one and assume the power of the collective. So, Blitzkrieg and Storm initially go at each other a little bit, but it doesn't go very far, you know, with Blitzkrieg controlling lightning and Storm being a mistress of the elements. Captain America is actually tangling with Shamrock, which seems pretty lame, but that goes on a little bit while the Collective Man and Sasquatch battle it out. So, essentially what ends up happening at some point here is, as Sasquatch is beating the crap out of the Collective Man, he ends up summoning the strength and power of many of his countrymen, which he's able to boot Sasquatch quite a bit, give the Sasquatch a big hit. Captain America still is dealing with the lucky chick, Shamrock. Blitzkrieg does get into the fray and tries to keep Captain America from getting to the last piece of the Golden Globe, which in the last second as he leaps for it, Shamrock actually is able to grab it and secure a win that is credited to the Grandmaster.
Wait a minute. The lucky chick beat Captain America? What? I don't get that.
So despite the fact that the Unknown's team is actually the one that grabbed the 4th piece in the story, the win is still credited to the Grandmaster.
Wait a second. The win is credited to the Grandmaster's team? But it was the Unknown's team that won. It should be tied. 2-2.
Yep, despite how awkward it is, it's still credited to the Grandmaster. So that means the Grandmaster wins the contest 3-1, and now he gets to claim his prize.
Wait a minute, the Unknown's even going along with this? I thought it was just a goof, but then I turned the page and it's legit. Like, they're really crediting to the Grandmaster. What the fuck is this all about? What a major editing goof at Marvel. I had never heard of anything like this. What? What the fuck?
With the Grandmaster happy with his victory, he starts assembling the Golden Globe. This will allow him to actually bring back his brother as stipulated in the contest, but the Unknown introduces, there's a little caveat to that. So what happens is he can still bring back the Collector, but he's got to sacrifice himself. The heroes here sense that there are shenanigans going on. So Talisman and the Invisible Woman figure out that it actually is Death. Death is the one that's actually behind all of this.
Wait a minute. Nobody realized that that was Death? The only thing literally that was missing was the skull face. It was just black. Robe and everything, but nobody got that? Alright.
So despite the fact that he was duped, the Grandmaster is going to go ahead and go through with it anyway. So he sacrifices himself to bring back the Collector. Now, once the Collector comes back and realizes what had happened and the sacrifice that was made to bring him back, he vows revenge against Death. Now, in a pretty badass scene from Death, she literally just says, "You will lose," because Death is a badass. So off they go, and then essentially what happens next is the heroes are essentially whisked away and deposited back down on Earth, right where they were taken, and everybody in suspended animation is awakened, and life for all on Earth just continues to spin on like normal.
Wait a second. You mean we got 3 or 4 panels of sending the heroes back and everybody else in suspended animation for over an hour? And it's just like, yep, you're back. That's it. No. Like, I mean, at least a page. Page and a half, maybe. Just seems like pretty lazy writing, if you ask me. It's just like, okay, contest over, you're back on Earth, the end. It's weird. Lazy. Alright, so what did I think about the whole story? Well, to be honest with you, it was a huge letdown. Couple things. One, I didn't really like the fact that you kidnapped all the heroes and then immediately disqualified most of them. And then you got the Grandmaster and this unknown or Death picking teams, and they pick a bunch of unknowns? That was odd. Most of which these characters didn't really show up or do anything important later on. I mean, I do understand the concept of, using the story to introduce new characters. I get that. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but that was a lot of new characters. And actually, they were lame. I mean, you mean to tell me you're going to pick Peregrine over Beast? Cyclops? I don't know. Just, to me, seems kind of stupid. But the worst, by far, is they screwed up the end. Like, they screwed up the story. First of all, you're doing this contest. Usually if you're going to do a contest, you and your buddy, you're betting something. And you say, hey, $5, I can beat you rock, paper, scissors. You're not doing an even number of contests. You're always doing it odd. You're winning best 3 out of 5. Best 2 out of 3. Pick 4. You just set up for the possibility of a draw. And it turns out they actually got the fucking draw. How did that get past the editors? It's not just like one guy. You got to get through a bunch of guys. Maybe not a bunch. Like 3 of them. How did everybody miss that? And then it went out. It was printed. It was shipped. It's crazy to me. Like, how does that happen? So ultimately, how do I rank the story? Out of 5? It's a 1. I mean, that's a huge bungle, there at the end. Like, you completely screwed up the story. That sucks. That's a big deal. I expected more out of it, When I was planning to launch this series, I figured this would be a good place to start. I had never read it. Why not, with the first major crossover event in comics history, kick off my completed run show? And ultimately end up sucking pretty bad. A little disappointed. Didn't think my first one was going to be a 1, but this is a big fat 1. Really disappointed. I mean, I'd pick it up again if it's relatively inexpensive. It's kind of interesting. There's some interesting things in it. Wolverine, Black Panther is pretty cool. There are some good things from the story up until the last issue. But, a bit of a letdown. So this is going to be a big fat 1. So, there you go. Well, that's it for this week. Don't forget to check out my other videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the ringy dingy so you get all my notifications, and check out my social media accounts. We do weekly giveaways, so if you want free comic books, it's a good place to check out. And that's it. We'll see you next time.